This week on Career Talk with Chelsea, with who? Me, Chelsea. We're going to talk about labels and when someone advises you or someone mentors you and ascribe a label to you. The label that we're going to talk about briefly this week is Imposter Syndrome. I had a conversation with my niece and she talked about one of her advisors mentioned her having imposter syndrome. And I'm going to share on this week's episode how I talked her through that and then what my thoughts are on that. So sit back, relax, grab your latte, your chai, your coffee, water, sports drink. Sit back and relax and just get prepared to listen to my advice to my niece about being ascribed a label from an advisor or someone that is mentoring you. Talk to you soon. On today's Career Talk with Chelsea, with who? Me, Chelsea. I'm actually driving, so you may hear my car in the background. You may even hear my windshield wipers because it is a little misty out. But I've been thinking about a conversation that I had recently with one of my nieces, and you all will learn that I have a lot of nieces and nephews, so I have conversations with them often, especially about their career and their lives. But she's in veterinary school in London, and I was just checking up on her. She usually sends me these wonderful pictures in her mind, but I'm just a little cringy for me because she will send me pictures while she's doing surgeries. She's so excited that she's at a point where she's doing surgeries now. She was spading a cat or neutering a cat. I don't know which one you do to a cat. She sent me a picture. And so I have all these wonderful pictures of my niece as she, matriculates through veterinary school in London. But our conversation that we had, she was talking about how one of her advisors mentioned that she has imposter syndrome. And I was taken aback. So she sent me an article that she was sent to read. So I asked her, I was like, did you read it? She was like, no. I said, okay, I'll read it. She was like, okay, great. Tell me what it says. Typical my niece. So I read the article, and in the first paragraph or the scenario that was described, and I'll link the article in my show notes, it wasn't for me. I did not think that the veterinary who was in the example illustrated imposter syndrome. I think she was just tired. And as you read the article, you'll actually see it was a miscommunication. A patient, parent, and I think of animals owners as their parents as well. Their parent made a comment and she took it wrong. However, she had been working like an 12 or 18 hour shift, and she was coming in to do more work, so she was a little tired. So I just think that it was just a miscommunication of the information that she received from her pet's parent. Well, not the information, the statement that the pet parent made versus her understanding what that statement actually meant to her. And that was the illustration that was given about this person having imposter syndrome. And imposter syndromes, and I'll link the correct definition, but for me, my understanding of imposter syndrome is when you don't feel that you know enough, that you don't feel that your accolades, your title, the work you're doing is that you should be doing it. You feel like you're faking. I remember years ago, the whole thing was fake it till you make it. And it's like you're still constantly faking it, and you don't think that you're going to ever make it. You feel like everyone else around you is smarter than you, know more than you. It's just like you don't feel like you belong in this situation, or you don't belong at this company, you don't just belong in this job, this title, you don't deserve. So those are the things when I think of imposter syndrome, that's what comes up. So I was asking my niece, okay, so what's happening. So she mentioned that her advisor said that she's not speaking up often, and she seems unsure of herself. One thing I can say about most of my nieces and nephews, unsurety of themselves is not ever an issue with them. However, what I do know about this particular niece, she's incredibly smart, very, very smart, very meticulous in her studies and her understanding, her desires to be able to be a great veterinarian. So she's very smart. However, one thing I know about my niece, because she's very smart and because she's always gotten accolades in high school and college, she was on Quiz Bowl in college, a regional champion, region champion, state champion when she was on Quiz Bowl. Her issue is not imposter syndrome. Her issue is being right. So I told her, I said, I don't think you have imposter syndrome. I just think that it's a thing of you not speaking up if you're not 100% right in your understanding, your answer, in the situation. Like 80% right for you is not right. It's like 100% wrong for you. So I was telling her, no, it's not imposter syndrome. I don't know what it's called, but you don't speak up when you're not 100% sure, or only a part of what's happening and you don't know 100%. So you're not going to dive in because you're not 100% right. It's not like you don't think you belong in a situation. It's not like you don't think you belong in veterinary school. It's not like you think your other peers are smarter than you, because clearly she does not. She's told me on plenty of occasions. But it's just the fact that if she doesn't feel she's 100% right, she's not going to speak up. So it makes me think, who else is out here have been mislabeled as having imposter syndrome? And it's not that at all. They are just at a point where, or the type of people who feel if they're not 100% right or have 100% grasp on this situation, grasp on knowledge, they're not going to speak up because in their mind, they're wrong. So being wrong is not something to actually pour into. Wrong information is not good information to them to pour into a conversation or a situation. However, me on the flip side, I can know 12% about something, and I will tell you all those 12%, and probably at the end of my conversation, I probably have you 80% convinced that I know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's just a difference, and I don't think that's imposter syndrome for her. I don't think that's imposter syndrome for me. But this whole podcast, I want you all to leave with thinking about, how have you been labeled that could be a mislabel and that you may have embraced or decided to embrace? I think if I had not had that conversation with my niece, she would be thinking, oh, maybe I do have imposter syndrome. Or, she could, even probably have assigned that label to herself, not understanding exactly what it is, but taking it from an advisor, a person in authority who should know that this is what she's actually going through, and that is not exactly what she's going through. So I advised her, I was like, hey, go back and talk to your advisor and just let them know, no, you don't have imposter syndrome. This is what imposter syndrome is. I don't feel that way at all. However, if I don't feel 100% certain of an answer or diagnosis or what I should do, I generally hold back until I get that information, additional information to take me to 100%. It could be from conversations with your peers. It could be from additional research. It could be on the fly as you watching someone in a diagnosis or you're conferring with one of your peers. But let them know you don't have imposter syndrome. You deserve to be where you are. You deserve everything that you're experiencing now. You are 100% committed to the process. However, you are just not the type of person, for lack of better terms, that go off on a situation half cocked and give it your advice or your opinion where you really don't know. Everyone is not at a point where, if they're giving information or if they're providing information, especially when you consider a diagnosis for an animal, a person, or anything, you want to be 100% right. And I shared with her, I said, well, in those cases when you feel like and you're not 100% right, start exercising your giving your opinion in situations when you don't feel you 100% right, and when you feel you may need some additional knowledge. I went through some prompts to telling her how you can start the conversation like, I'm not 100% on this, but this is what I think, or I'm not fully understanding this, but based off my research, my readings, my experience, these are the things I think. However, these are the ways I think I need to shore up my understanding of whatever situation is. So I gave her some talking prompts, told her to consider those things, because I know my niece doesn't have imposter syndrome, because baby, if anybody's not convinced that she knows what she knows, it's her. But I just think that she is one of the people who have to be 100% right before they delve in or provide a diagnosis or provide their perspective. Well, that is the end of this week's episode of Career Talk with Chelsea. With who? Me? Chelsea. It is like in my mind, I hear all of you all saying it at the same time. Chelsea. Well, tune in to next week when I share my heart, my mind, give you additional career advice based off of something I've experienced, someone else experienced, that I just want to share with you all. I apologize, I'm driving, so I'm sure you heard my car in the background, but I just wanted to share this. It was on my mind at the time, and I didn't want to lose this train of thought and not be able to share with you all. I hope you're doing well. I hope today was better than yesterday. And as always, send me an email, ctwithchelsea@gmail.com, and we can talk through some things if you so wish. Or you can leave me a comment or ask me a question, or, give me an idea for our next episode. Wishing you all well. Take care. Bye.